Alright guys, so we are live. So what's up guys, it's Mr. T coming at you live from NYC. Welcome back to Convos, our podcast over here at TimTalks. And hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Now I never usually like to delve into more personal episodes, but I thought that this one was going to be quite an exception because I want to give you guys, my honest and heartfelt review of one of the newest shows over on Disney and Disney Plus. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's called Hailey's On It, and they call it, most of the people online are calling it like the spiritual successor to shows like Amphibia and The Owl House. And in all honesty, I think this one can take the cake just a little bit. I know that, there's been some controversy over on Disney with regards to canceling shows over, misrepresentation and all that stuff. And I just wanted to give you guys my pure, unadulterated, and unedited opinion on their newest show because, number one, this show can kind of tie into mental health. And that's what you guys probably know that we're rolling with it over here on the channel. And so I just wanted to give you guys my heartfelt review on this. And I'm not going to edit anything. I'm not going to try and spoil anything. I'm just going to state what I saw because I actually got the chance to, watch all 6 episodes so far. And so they usually run with 6 episodes with 15-minute segments each, usually 11 to 15 minutes. And then so how I was able to access that, so they made it all available on Disney Plus, and I was just scrolling through the shows thinking what would be new on, and then I found this show, and so I wanted to give it a go. And to be honest, I'm kind of liking it because and I'm saying this not only just recalling just the emotional tension that was The Owl House. And you guys probably remember that review I did over with my sis, Madame Audacity. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here for this review, but as in the spirit, she's gonna be over here. And she and I watched the show, and we like it. And we think there's really good potential with it, and I'm not gonna lie, I have high hopes for it just because now that I got to see it 6 episodes in, and I'm loving the cast. Well, first off, I love everything about it in regards to the cast. So we have the titular character known as Hailey Alolani Banks. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm not Hawaiian and my accent may not be the best. But basically the main character is Hailey Banks. She is a 14-year-old half Hawaiian girl, and she is going to take on the world to try and tackle the list that she's made and save the world. And so basically that's the plot that we're running through. And again, it seems on the face of it as something so basic, but alongside her friend Scott Denoga, who is her best friend, voiced by Manny Jacinto, and Hailey Banks, she is voiced by Alec Ravallo. And judging by the cast, this is a wonderful group that they had. Disney really assembled a top-line cast for this show, and it's unbelievable just to see the amount of talent that they put in, because they know that they've made good shows before and they've aired them on and many people love it. Like, we've got Amphibia, we've got The Owl House, and if this is gonna be the successor to it, they might as well go in strong. And so their cast is pretty good. And then they have their robotic friend Beta, voiced by Gary Anthony Williams, who has a sick voice. And I am not gonna sugarcoat it. When I first heard him, I didn't think it was gonna go as well as I thought. But then, as the series progresses, it was just amazing to hear this cast, and they fit in so perfectly, and I love their synergy and vibe. And so now that we got the main cast out of the way, and they also have the recurring characters, we got Kai Banks, Patricia Banks, part of their family, part of Hailey's family. We have AC, who's kind of this douchebag that you tend to find. It's usually that one character who, seems like the odd one out. But again, his personality is developing, which I love. We have the professor, who is by far the person who had started it all. She was the one who had informed Hailey, hey, you gotta fix, you got a mission, you got this thing to do. You have to complete your list and go out there and save the world. And by doing so, by completing that list, you have a chance for the world to be saved. And we have other characters, which I cannot necessarily mention. I don't want to mention all of them in this review, and it's just gonna be a very simple review just because of the fact that I want you guys, if you guys are interested in the show, I guarantee you're gonna have a fun time with it. And it's just gonna take a while, just like any Disney show, to just get into the vibe. And so again, this is one of them. And so alongside the cast, I just love most especially with regards to the story. Now it sounds like a typical story where you save the world and all that stuff. And we've seen that many times. We've seen the plot armor, we've seen it go through and through. Doesn't matter what kind of character. It could be a male, a female, it could be even an animal. But we've seen it before, and just the fact of the matter is that this one takes the cake just a little bit because first off, I love the obscurity of the show. And not gonna lie, at first, at face value, I thought that it was just like a ripoff of Rick and Morty, and many of us love that show. And if I was to think of another show that can compare to this one, I think of Rick and Morty. And just looking at that, I thought that did Disney, for example, steal the ideas from Adult Swim, and did they somehow collaborate? Was it just somehow coincidental that the two shows look alike? And in all honesty, I really don't believe that once I finally saw Hailey's On It. And so, again, just the premise of saving the world. What was different is that it's so obscure, and we don't know how this list that Hailey's gotta complete is gonna be possible to save the world. It's only when you watch the series that it was possible, but again, it was very limited. They didn't really give per se an explanation, and that's what I love as well, is that the mystery behind the show. We don't necessarily know why it is that doing this list will save the world. And there were some theories, and I'll get into that in a bit. But again, just that obscurity and that mystery is just, it's so good. And I love that when it comes down to having a story, because then there's more of a purpose to it, and there's theory, speculation. That's what made the Owl House so good. It's why we even did a review on it. It's just because of the fact that there's just more to the story than meets the eye. And so it's not as straightforward, saving the world. How is that possible? And how is it going to be accomplished just by doing something as completing a list of things that you wanted to do in life, right? And so Hailey's got that challenge, and it was just all of a sudden, if you guys have probably seen from the trailer, you saw how things just kickstarted, and it seemed unrealistic at first until you realized that kickstart was kind of symbolic in a way where, it's not just do it, right? Just do it. And, judging by how the professor made her entrance into the series, how she went on with her explanation, and how she showcased how the future was going to be if it didn't happen, with some small signs and different paradoxical changes and whatever, right? So she made it very clear, and it was just impressive how that pacing, it takes a while to get used to the pacing of the show. For many viewers who've seen other Disney shows, this one was a little bit fast-paced, but then eventually you catch on up with the speed of it, and then you get used to that vibe. But again, I think that was the whole point of the show, is that there's just so much to process. And I actually took the time as well to review the frames pace by pace and try to pace myself with what's been going on in the show. And the detail is just immaculate. I love the setting, and I love the characters, and I absolutely love the color scheme. Everyone had their role to play, and everyone is so unique. No one is trying to be a copycat of the other, and everyone's got their role and their place in the series. And paying attention to that detail is something that's so important, because I'm a guy who's for the underdog. Seriously, I really admire as well how other characters that don't have a light shown on them is in the spotlight. And the show does that so many times, in which those who are the underdogs, those who don't get that light, they get to show up in the show and play a role instrumental in helping Hailey with her list. And so with every task that she does, she's more and more exposed, and she's gaining that confidence, and I love it. I love her personality. And she wasn't a go-getter, as she had explained before. She wasn't that kind of person. She was shy, she was bashful, and she didn't want to get into what was to be done. She didn't have that feeling, that urgency to get into things that are new, and she was afraid. And like many of us, I feel for that, because getting into something new, it can be freaking terrifying. And so with Hailey, she plays that role. She fits that role perfectly in being the underdog, and then will become the main part of the show. She is the titular character. And so developing it, and many people had complained like, whoa, it was fast that she, accepted the role and that she actually was planning to do it. And even though that she held off, she procrastinated with her list back to back to back, she didn't get down into it. Only when the professor showed up and then she saw for herself how the world was going to change if she didn't do something about it, and then she's got that confidence. Now, I love as well throughout the show, I'm not going to get into many spoilers, but, with every challenge that Hailey and her friend Scott, any challenge that came along their way, what I loved as well is there is that recurring theme of that Hailey doesn't necessarily know how things are going to play out. She always showcases that bit of fear and nervousness, and she always tends to be that person who wants to back up for a bit and, just think about what's been going on. Even though she does it, and even though she's down to do what she needs to do to save the world, she's still afraid, and she doesn't necessarily know what it is and how is it that, is this going to help them? How is this going to help save the world? And is she in the right direction? Sometimes she's misled and sometimes she's misdirected into doing certain things because she doesn't know. It's like the future. The future has something in store, but you don't always know what the future has in store. You don't know what the future holds. You don't know if what step by step, whatever you're doing will lead to your success, right? So it's kind of like that. And along the way, so what I love as well is that despite the fast pacing of the first part of the series, what I love is that it eventually adjusted, and then we get to see more about how Hailey and her cast, how Hailey and the crew, they eventually grow out of their shell. And again, it does take time, what with the fast pace and all at the beginning, but then things started to slow down and we start to see more about how the characters act and how they feel. And some things on the list, which, again, you have to watch the series to be able to see, it's literally not everything is made clear. Like, some things deal with relationships, some things that deal with, traveling, seeing the world and all those things, and there's just some things, when you're a kid, and then let's say you're like 5, 6, 7 years old, and you have these lists of things that you want to do in life, just having that imagination, and some of the things on the list are very unrealistic and just extreme. And so, with Hailey, I see it in her expression, and the animation was stellar to show that she has that sense of not only just urgency, but also that sense of fear and uncertainty, and that's the gist that I got from just the first couple of episodes. Like, literally when I saw that, at first I thought it was just gonna be this over-the-top typical Disney stuff where, it's a happily ever after go-getter type of story. But no, that wasn't the case here with this series. And I underestimate it, and I apologize to Disney to think that, that they didn't really put too much thought into this series, and it's just one of their many things that they've done, and they are just doing all over again. This was not that show. But enough about Hailey. I want to get down to the other characters in the show. So, again, we have her best friend Scott, who is a wonderful person, and he has this wonderful and vivacious and loving attitude, and he's always sticking by her regardless of whatever happens. And even though he himself is facing challenges, what I love as well is that he sticks by her every step of the way to help complete the list. And again, it seems unrealistic, but then again, if that's your best friend, it's very likely it's gonna happen, right? So again, with Scott, it's wonderful to see him in that role, but also, like Hailey, he's also trying to develop as a character, because he also has, it's pretty obvious, but he also has feelings for Hailey, right? And he has those kinds of uncertainties and doubts, and what with everything, he knows that it's got to be Hailey who's got to complete this list, and he's got to be there on the side to help. But there's more to it than meets the eye, and many people had assumed that he's just this person who's fell into obscurity. He literally is just unaware of what's going on. But no, there's more to it than meets the eye, and Scott really is showcasing just the fact that not only is their friendship going to be tested, but the world is going to be tested. He also knows that even literally at the beginning, he didn't even meet the professor. He didn't even know what was going on at the time. And, just to be thrust into this big responsibility, he didn't even see what the world was going to become. And he just went with it. And he made that promise, to stick by Hailey every step of the way and to complete the list with her no matter what, right? So again, with Scott, he is... again, his personality, it took a while, but then it actually became more realistic, and it is totally possible. I mean, they're 14 years old, anything's possible in middle school, right? And then you have Beta, which is sent from the future. He's a bot sent from the future, and he is there to help Hailey and Scott complete the list and, make sure things are on track. And he is this incredibly intelligent AI. Just think of like Chat GPT on steroids. So that's Beta. He's got this wonderful personality. And again, the voice actor is so silky and smooth. And he is amazing just for this role because, again, Beta has this personality. And, like any robot, it takes a while for him to just get used to the emotional aspects of things. He's still a robot. And so he's still... just trying to, cope with whatever and just trying to make sure everything is on track. But then eventually, over time in the show, he develops this personality as well. Mind you, I know that it's in the future, I think we master how to give robots a personality. But Beta really, I don't know if it's just the voice actor or his role, but I absolutely love him. The fact of the matter is that, not only is he cute and adorable and, he's just so... I'm at a loss for words because, I've seen AI before and I've seen robotic companions before, but Beta is just very unique in that, his personality coupled with his responsibility just balances out so well, and that he is also different in that, he's not only just the assistant, his role is actually important because without him, they won't know if they're going on the right track. So basically what he does is he estimates the time and, how likely is it that they're going to complete a certain list, a certain item on the list. And so he's the person who, he's the bot who literally determines and tells Hailey, hey, we got a 95% chance that we can do this. And so we should probably go for that. And yada, yada, yada. But either way, that makes his role even more important. Again, what I love is that they focus on the underdogs. And again, what with the underdogs, I'm rooting for them, and I'm rooting as well for Beta, Scott, and Hailey. Again, they make a wonderful trio, and so their vibe and their synergy is just nice. It's nice, and I love it because, again, I've seen that synergy before in other shows of Disney, and I thought that they were going to be past their prime, but I guess I was wrong. And sorry, guys, if I keep stuttering or whatever. Again, this is just my own unedited opinion about the show. And so what I've been seeing and what's been going on, again, it is amazing to see how far Disney has come. And I was really worried that they have lost their edge. I know that they made mistakes, but again, with this show, I feel as though this is one of the places where they can actually get back to doing what it is that they do. And that's to just make something not only creative, not only inspiring, but also relatable. I think it's just that part where we get to relate to the show that makes us love the show even more. And again, we know they made mistakes, but again, I think that they can get their act back together if they just focus on what they started with in the first place. And then you have other characters. Again, you have some smart Alex. You have these influencers. And again, I'm not going to spoil them just because I want you to see their personalities for themselves, because I feel if I spoil them now, again, apart from the three, we already know the main characters, but the people who are behind who also might contribute, just like every show should do, have a focus as well on the people in the background. Again, that is what's important, right? So again, that's just the premise of what I thought about the show and what's going on in the show. But I want to get down to more about what I've seen so far that makes this definitely possibly one of the successors to some of the hit shows over on Disney. And again, I'm not saying that lightly because I absolutely love the shows from before. I absolutely love their takes on certain shows like Phineas and Ferb. You have the Owl House, Amphibia. I know there's controversy from Star vs. the Forces of Evil. I'm not going to get into that, but I I've seen it, but again, just the color and creativity of it all. Disney's made a lot of good stuff, and they set aside very wonderful and devoted directors who helped to make these shows what they are today. And they are going to definitely be in my heart in the years and to come, like in my life. And so again, what with the direction Disney was taking, again, with the show is just showcasing how far they've come, and then how far are they willing to go, because again, the show is just starting. And first off as well, the setting is absolutely gorgeous. I'm not sure where it's taking place. I'm assuming it's in Hawaii, and don't take my word for it, because again, I'm not reading off of it or anything. I'm literally just trying to recall what I've seen so far. And the action and the effects of it is amazing. What also takes the cake is the soundtrack. And so I didn't know until recently that the people who made the soundtracks are literally the cast themselves. You got Ali Carvalho, who sang in Moana, and then you have other wonderful cast members who also play other roles. And the soundtrack is just unbelievable. It's a mix of, sometimes you got hip-hop, you got smooth jazz, you have all these wonderful tracks, and all these references and whatnot. There's just a lot of detail to unpack. And again, it's just the vibe of it all. There was just something so different about this show in comparison to other ones, because again, what with every show, there's always going to be a twist. But again, how this show thrives is the mystery of it. Again, for example, I can get down to somewhere like Amphibia, where, there's a fantasy world in which the characters found themselves into, and then there's more play there, and then, they gotta fix it, right? And then you have, for example, the Owl House. Again, I'm gonna keep mentioning that because many people were referencing that this Hailey's On It is gonna be the successor. So again, with the Owl House, again, you see much of the action happening over in the Demon Realm, right? So you see more of the action happening over there. And although there were some things that were happening in the human realm, and again, if not for the fact that the series was cut off so quickly, there would have been more development. I just wish that there was more time, and it wasn't on the fault of the director or anyone for that matter. Again, it is still a wonderful and phenomenal series. And so again, if they had just had more time given to them to focus more on the human realm, since we've seen so much of the other realms. So again, if they had had more time on that, that would be the cake. Honestly, the Owl House could have been the show that no other show can compete with. And, that's going to be surprising. If they had just more time to stay on Earth and to see what's been going on. But again, they put so much effort into that, and I love that. What sets this show apart from the others is that we have a focus entirely on the human realm. And, I know we had a show, for example, like Phineas and Ferb and all that. But there's not going to be much in terms of like going into different realms. It's literally the past, the present, and the future. So this is one of the shows where I feel as though they're going to set their stage over here on planet Earth, and we're going to back to the place where we belong. And then from there, we're going to take a look at what's been happening and how things are going to influence time itself, right? So again, what with Disney and other fairy tale shows and other shows that involve fantasy, again, they go over the top with where they go, but it's also awesome as well just to see how much more influence that there is also on the home that we call planet Earth. I really feel as though that, what we got to get back down to our roots and just see what's happening over in our world, and to know that, things that are magical can also happen on Earth. I know that we want to escape, and I know that we want to, for example, go to another realm in which anything can happen. And that is wonderful as well. But what takes the cake here in Hailey's On It is the fact that they're setting the stage over on planet Earth, and that we get to see for ourselves. We get to see the references, and I love the parodies of it all, where they feature. I saw like Dingles, which is supposed to be Pringles, and I saw a lot of other things. I just love the parodies, and again, we can all relate to that. We can find more relativity towards the setting and the place itself. What made, for example, the Owl House and Amphibia and other shows so different is that we focus there on the characters And just the humanistic parts of it, just because they're magical creatures, there's more at play. There's human emotions and there's human personalities involved. But in Hailey's On It, what sets that apart is the fact that there's not only just the personalities involved, but the setting, the songs, and just the human presence of it is that with our past, present, and future, it's we as people who are going to influence that. And so we become more involved in it. And so, when we look at things, again, it's still fantasy. There's still more at stake, and there's still a lot that remains to be seen. But I feel as though that we're sticking with planet Earth in this series. And the fact of the matter is that the situations, if we're going to stick on planet Earth, they're going to be more human related. They're going to connect more to us. And the fact of the matter is that what with the series, we see more of it. And as we see more about what the list is about, we start to see character development, which is awesome. Again, no spoilers there. But again, I saw development in Hailey, Scott, Beta, the professor even, and just to see, things take a more realistic turn. Again, that's a very, very wonderful premise. In fact, the premise of it all, if you guys wanted to know what it is about, global warming has taken effect on the world, and it's up to Hailey to save that. It's up to Hailey to save the world, defend, get rid of climate change, and just to reverse the effects of it. And, we live happily ever after. And again, just that situation in and of itself can be a very interesting premise because that's something that's affecting the world today. We got the world as it is, and we know how chaotic it can be, war, politics, and all these situations. And I'm not going to laugh about that because it's real and it's happening. But, what with weather, right? It seems as though it's something that people don't always see it happening around them, but it is happening to us. We start to feel hotter, we start to see things get more severe, and it's a situation that, affects the whole planet. A war can be in a certain place, and what do you call that? A war can be in a certain place, an epidemic can be in a certain place, corruption can be in a certain place, but with this situation, affecting the whole world as is, that's something that can be very irreversible. And so what I love about the show is that that's the premise that we're looking towards, just trying to fight climate change and to save the world one step at a time. Because, once the world is secure, then we can find our ways to secure ourselves, right? And so I want to get down, past the premise and all those things that I mentioned about the show, down to the theories about what might happen. And so I was looking over on YouTube, I saw other people's channels, and I saw other people's reviews, and I thought they were also good, and I thought that they gave their own opinions very well. And I just love it as well that they got their own heartfelt things to say, and I don't want to take I want to give a shout out to those people as well. I don't want to take credit for whatever it is that they said that influenced my opinions. But again, I want to shout out them for what they've what they talked about on the show. And again, I just feel bad as well because I know that this show has a lot of potential, but people, with their impressions and all, again, it's not your fault. You're entitled to your own opinion. But again, I think there's more to it than meets the eye with anything that it is that we do. And so what with the show, many theories have spawned as to how this is gonna work. And I saw this one interesting theory where it said there that the list actually isn't the thing that matters. And the fact is that it's Hailey who's the one that's supposed to save the world. That's the one that matters. Because there's just such an emphasis on the list and to do all the things that are there. But, it seems very weird that, for example, you bike all the way to Orlando. That wasn't the theme song. And if you make your way all the way to Orlando by bike, which is near on impossible considering the fact that I don't know where they're living. I don't know if they're living in Hawaii. How is that possible, right? So again, just the craziness of it all, and that you have all these items that don't seem to connect in certain ways. But again, some people have said that it's not really about the list. It's just more about the character who's going to complete it. It's Hailey. And so that her confidence would be what's needed to help save the world. It's not just character development on its own because of the list. It's supposed to be Hailey who's developing her sense of, bravery and courage to stand up for what's right and to continue to persist, knowing that the world is in her hands and that she's going to be the one to help save the world. Again, it's more towards character development, and I actually love that theory where the list means nothing, but Hailey is everything to saving the world. And again, that's such a wonderful theory, and I dig whoever left that. Again, not gonna spoil who that is, but that was also in another review. You guys can check out the other YouTubers. Again, they're also awesome with their theories. And so I'm gonna keep that in mind, and I don't know if you guys feel that as well, but I think that's a very strong theory about how the fact of the matter is that this show is, although it's placing an emphasis on the list, it's Hailey who's got to be the one to really take charge. And again, that's such a good theory. And another theory that popped up is that, it's just being manipulated. And, that's also another far-fetched theory. And I'm also saying that because, I felt there's just something strange about, the thought about her being stabbed in the back. It's not that it's not, it's not that it's unrealistic. It's just that, going through all of that. And, again, I'm not going to spoil anything from the show, but just from what I've seen, it doesn't seem that it's on that track, It doesn't seem that it's on that track that, all of this was like a hoax. Because honestly, if the whole premise was built around that, I'm just trying to think of a way in which Disney can work around that. If they are planning to do that kind of thing where this list was a hoax and it was a trap or something like that, again, I'm still trying to find ways in which that's gonna work, but I don't know about that. But that's just one of the other theories. Again, I'm not gonna criticize, it's that person's opinion, but I feel like there needs to be more to base it off of, because again, it doesn't really touch the fact of the matter that you've seen so much in the show that already connects that to the fact that they're on the right track. I mean, you literally got Beta, who's the bot there, who's supposed to determine if the list is going well, right? And it doesn't seem as though he's a traitor, because a bot can have a program. I know that, but then I don't get that vibe, because again, it doesn't seem to be that kind of show, rather. But again, that's just the theory of another person, and I won't hit it too much, but it is a very compelling theory. But again, we just got to work our way around that, because this show seems to be, although it's in different directions as of now, it's starting to come together, and we just got to see what happens, right? And I know I've been talking a while for guys, but again, I love this show. I'm really digging it. And if you were to ask me if this can be a successor to the Owl House or to those other shows over on Disney, I say that, albeit not the successor in that the premise is the same, it is a successor in that Disney does still have an idea about where they're going. Because, it's still not this show where it's like everyone lives happily ever after. Because initially, I was so scared and I was so freaking worried that Disney was gonna take that unrealistic approach where, we get to have a show where everyone is wonderful and safe and happy. I mean, literally, if you look at shows like Bluey, I've seen Bluey for myself, and I know this is not in connection with everything that I'm saying, but I saw that show, and I know that not everything goes well in the show. I know there's still some challenges, and I've seen other YouTubers myself who've said their own opinions, and they said it themselves. There's more to Bluey than just, it being a preschool show. Again, it's a show that tackles some very different situations, and it's just that you have to make some effort to get around that. Same thing goes with Hailey's On It. And once I got into it, guys, have assurance as well that this show is gonna have a focus on that. There is a situation that's very realistic this time, because even though it's sticking with the human realm, it's sticking with Earth. Again, it's so scary to think that the future could be influenced by one person. And again, that is still, and I wholeheartedly believe that is so true. that each of our lives matter, and Hailey's On It is literally proving that one person's life, albeit seems to be one person in the cesspool that is human Earth, can make a difference in saving the world. And that can apply to each and every one of us. You know, it's not that we die for nothing. There's more to our lives, and we each had our own contribution. And even if we feel like we don't, that's really not true. And that's why I love as well. That's why I wanted to do this on the podcast, because it's not just only a review about a show that I love. It's literally the fact of the matter is that the situation ties in so much to mental health, that you have the underdogs rising up and stepping up to the challenge, that the future is in our hands and only we ourselves can influence it and change it. And you know, that drive, once it's there, you know, it feels like we're unstoppable. And again, you know, that's really how I feel that this show is going to go around. I feel that that's the premise that this show is going to base itself off, is that the underdogs and that just regular, ordinary people can make a difference in this world. And that on planet Earth, that one person, that one group, that one city, that one state, one nation can literally change the course of history. And again, you know, I absolutely love the theme of time. I mean, who doesn't love time? The fact of the matter is that, you know, just one event can change everything. I mean, how freaking awesome is that? I'm saying it, and I don't know if the mic is picking it up, but again, I'm literally just thinking about so many ways in which the show can go about it. And, you know, again, I don't know everything that's on the list that Hailey's got to complete, but I know there's a lot of far-fetched things. And again, you know, just the creativity of it all. Because, you know, you have to really think about, I know this list goes on in the hundreds. And so each of these tasks, again, you know, I really love that theory that this is more supposed to be focused on Hailey and her development as a character. I like that theory. And I'm also anticipating that there might be betrayal, that there might be something backstabbing or whatnot. And again, I'll have to see how it goes with the show. I don't know how long it's going to run for. I don't know what's in store for the cast and for the crew. I don't know how it's going to be for, you know, those who are working on the show over on Disney. But again, you know, if all goes well, this might have a chance, you know. Again, is it the complete successor? I don't believe that. But is it a worthy successor? Absolutely. I think that this show, even if you guys, I also noticed as well, is that the intro, many people had based their opinions on the intro, but if you go to the full song of it, again, there is more to it. Like, there is literally more. I absolutely love and thrilled that Ollie Carvalho is the one voicing it, because not only am I catching her vibe and her personality, I absolutely love the representation. Again, this show can be considered AAPI, Asian American Pacific Islander, and I'm an Asian, and I respect everyone. And what I love is that the show features a lot of different characters as well, from the likes of, you know, not only Asians, Pacific Islanders, blacks, whites, but again, you know, just to integrate all of that. Because, you know, guys, literally this world can use a lot of that. Can use a lot of love and integration. I feel as though this show highlights that perfectly as well, is that everyone plays a role, and it's only when we learn to understand other people and we start to bring them in, hone in on them, and let them all feel the love, that's what matters. And that is so essential to the show, is that everyone I know is going to have an important role. And they made it very clear, even though it doesn't seem like it at first, but everyone's got a role to play. And so I can't wait to see what the underdogs are going to do. This show is meant for the underdogs. And the fact of the matter is that, again, you know, with what's going on with the series, I know that there's more in store. The creativity is amazing, and I can't wait to see those ideas put into action in the future episodes. But I'm going to leave that review over here. So that's literally my wholehearted opinion. I didn't edit this. I didn't even have a script for this. This is literally what I thought about the show. Is it ever going to be, again, I'm gonna emphasize that, is it ever going to be the complete successor to other shows of Disney? Not always. Is it worthy, though, to succeed them? and to really showcase, again, the focus now, which is us, you know, mental health and the world and how much of a role we play. Absolutely. I feel as though I dig that, and I feel as though that the show captures that. And, you know, I'm gonna keep speculating, and there might be a future review in store. But again, guys, if you want a show that ties in and you want to just have a laugh, have fun, but also see what's important in the world, again, you know, check out this show. And, you know, I really admire Disney Television Animation, just their studio, because, again, their shows, I think they're really emphasizing their shows, sometimes more than their films. And I know that Disney, it started off with films, but again, you know, they're sorry, my voice cracked. Their shows are doing so well. I am not gonna lie, they are doing so well with their shows, and I can't wait to see what more in store they have for us and for the whole community. But anyway, guys, that's my review. I hope you guys enjoyed. And again, you know, it may not be what you have expected, but I'm just giving my thoughts over here on the channel about something that you can check out. Again, we're tying it into mental health, and you guys, I hope you guys may check it out, because if you guys want to find where it is, it's on Disney Channel. But if you want to see all the episodes, again, check out your Disney Plus subscription. Search up Hailey's On It. Again, I'll also leave a link in the description just so that you can see where you can go. But again, you know, it's up to you guys, however you feel. And I know everyone has their own opinions about the show and whatnot. But, you know, take a chance, just like Hailey. Give it a chance, just like Luz from the Owl House. Again, take a chance, because you never know where you might find happiness and joy. You might never know where you might find the next big thing. You never know. And so, again, that's just my opinion, guys. But, again, please check it out. See what happens, right? But that's going to be it for this episode of Convos. Again, check out the description for all the info that I mentioned. Please go ahead and leave your comments on what you guys think. I know I'm still working on the whole stuff and whatnot. I'm going to see if I can get a better mic later on. I don't know. I'll see how it goes over here on the podcast. Again, if you guys want to check me out, please check out my DMs, my PMs, check out my social media if you guys want to chat with me, and we'll see how this goes, all right? But again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like, share, sub, and much love. You guys are awesome. You guys are cool. This is Mr. T signing off over here in NYC. Much love, everyone, and I'll see you at the next episode, all right? Peace out and have an awesome day.